Hi, my name is Vivien Sharon, real estate broker with Sotheby's International Realty Canada, and I'm very excited to welcome you here today to Series 2 of Coffee with Vivien Live. Today's episode is called Location, 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 Real Estate in Collingwood, Blue Mountain, and the Muskokas. And today we will be speaking to two real estate colleagues of mine at Sotheby's International Realty Canada. They're both realtors and experts in their specific areas of interest where they both live and work. And we will be featuring Kevin Gilchrist, who will give us insight into the real estate market in Southern Georgian Bay, and Megan McLeod, who will discuss her real estate market in her area of the Muskokas, and also discuss an area very interesting is staging and strategic staging to maximize your investment in Muskoka. So before we continue, let me tell you a little bit more about this series. In season 1, we covered many topics of interest from real estate, design, architecture, lifestyle, the environment, technology, culture, health, wellness, and more. But now we're into season 2, and we will be discussing the topic of relocation, vacation, and recreational properties in highly desirable and scenic areas across Canada. So I'm the author of a recently published book, The Boomer's 7-Step Guide to Downsizing, Overcoming Fear, and Discovering Freedom. And I encourage you all to go to my website, viviensharon.com/book, where you will find many tips and strategies to help adult children and their parents through the emotions of downsizing, or you can order a hard copy on Amazon. So now I'm very excited to introduce my two special guests. So the first guest is Kevin Gilchrist. He has been a realtor since 2004. He lives and serves the Southern Georgian Bay area, where he is an expert in marketing waterfront and country estate properties. He has a proven track record selling some of the most prized luxury properties in the area and continually setting record price points. He's a broker and senior vice president of sales with Sotheby's International Realty Canada. Our second guest is Megan McLeod. Megan McLeod has created an award-winning real estate career in Muskoka with Sotheby's International Realty Canada. With accolades from clients and real estate professional bodies, Megan has skillfully curated a stellar career in over 20 years. While born and raised in the Golden Horseshoe, she fell in love with Muskoka. She's a certified interior decorator, stager, mediator, and she lives in Huntsville, Ontario. So if you have any questions during this discussion, please put them in the chat, engage, and we will read them aloud. So now I'm pleased to welcome Kevin and Megan.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Oh, this is exciting. So first we're going to take a photo op and we'll take our coffee and we'll say hi, and we'll just, or Kevin has a glass of water, I think. And he's going to hold up his coffee and we're going to say hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Thank you. And now we're going to start. So I'm going to ask both of you together an introductory question, and I'll just start with Kevin. Kevin, if you could summarize in a few sentences the real estate market in your area over the past 18 months.
Well, certainly things have changed dramatically in this area. With COVID and how we sell had a big impact. But what we had was a major influx of people basically wanting to get out of populated areas and get into some areas where they could, also station. I mean, have a vacation at their own house or in their own town because we couldn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. So it certainly increased the demand for recreational properties And when people realized that, they could work from home or were forced to work from home, it just opened up more possibilities of where they could actually live. As long as they had internet and good cell service, they could pretty much work from anywhere.
Right.
But the market has definitely changed. We're seeing in the last 2 years, I have to go back 48 months for my reports, that we're seeing about a 70% increase in our average sale prices in southern Georgian Bay, basically right across the board from, Honey Harbor, Penetanguishene, and Midland, right over around Georgian Bay over to Owen Sound.
Thank you. So that's a general synopsis. We'll go in more depth in a moment. And now, thank you. We're going to ask the same question to Megan. What would you say over the past 18 months? I guess we're targeting this time period we've all lived through. How has it changed in general in your marketplace?
Well, demand obviously increased substantially at the beginning of the lockdown. I remember when we first locked down, I had a little pity party in my living room, and I thought, I'm not going to sell anything. A cottage is a want, not a need. But I didn't realize how folks would react to the COVID and wanting to get out of the city. So it really pivoted, and it seemed to be a target pretty quickly to get out of the city, and maybe twofold: invest in a property in the province rather than their Florida property or anywhere else in the world, have something local that they could go to. So we had folks buying second properties for that reason, or selling in the city and actually moving up north. So we noticed a real huge increase in just volume of people shopping in the grocery store, and our local, amenities were just all feeling it right away.
Right. Thank you. I think that is a really important introduction to the topic today, that the interest and the demand in both your locations outside of main cities has grown. And of course, we've heard about that in a great way in the media over these past 18, 20 months. So now we're going to zero in on one location first, and we're going to talk about the southern Georgian Bay area. And we're going to focus these questions with Kevin first. Kevin, can you tell us a little bit more about the area, specifically geographically, that you cover?
Sure. Well, basically, we're located about 2 hours north of Toronto. Lots of people will drive up to 400 and just start heading west. We're known for the ski capital of Ontario. And one of the amazing parts of this area, which is a bit of a trend that is only found here, is that these private ski clubs, we have 5 or 6, that you don't see that any other area, like Colorado and BC and all these other ski areas don't have all these private clubs. And so it does make us a bit unique. It makes us a 4-season resort because we're right on Georgian Bay. The water's clean. It's the gateway to the 30,000 islands, some of the best cruising grounds in the world. And the scenery is incredible. And this past 10 years, what we've seen is the baby boomers getting ready to retire and retiring and purchasing second properties up here. And we pretty much have lost most of our blue collar jobs. We're mostly a retirement and recreational area. But at the same time, it's also been very inviting for the young crowd of the 20s and 30s that are techies that love to be in this area because of everything we offer, and they can operate remotely.
So a question about yourself. I take it that you live in the area where you work and trade. So what is it that makes you really love what you do and where you live, and a bit about yourself?
Well, our background, both my wife and I, have come out of the Kitchener area, And we just, I grew up skiing. I was at, I mean, that's what we did as kids. We were at the ski hill every night in Kitchener at the Chicopee Ski Club. And we just wanted to, when I got my driver's license, I started coming up here to ski. And I wanted my kids to be able to experience hills. We moved up here 20 years ago. I'm an avid fisherman, boater, and wanted to get more involved in boating, which we've done. And we just fell in love with the lifestyle. We had a sister, my sister-in-law and her husband had moved up here and bought a farm. So we were coming up on weekends. And I got involved in the real estate business about 16 years ago. So the first 4 years I was involved in building homes and decided I'd rather sell them than build them. But we just love the fact that the water's clean, fish that I catch in the bay. I can go skiing. We've got hiking trails all over the place. The scenery is unbelievable. And it's just a slower paced lifestyle, but yet Collingwood offers and Owen Sound offers great amenities for shopping. And, there's lots to be offered up in this area. And hey, if we want to get to the city, it's a quick hour and a half, hour and 3/4 drive to get down to the GTA or the airport.
I would expect the seasons must be really quite fabulous during the year, which you live through now in the beautiful later fall season. And I guess your trading areas are very different. I mean, you're talking Collingwood, Blue Mountain, Thornbury. What other main cities and big geographical distances you're driving?
Yeah, it is it's a fairly large that I have worked in. I'm a bit of a cherry picker. I love special properties. And so I probably put on a few more kilometers than the average Southern Georgian Bay realtor does. But Honey, in that area, which is kind of the east side of Georgian Bay, Midland, Penetanguishene, tiny township, has some of the most amazing beachfront cottages all the way down the coast. So that whole area, Wasaga Beach, is an area that has absolutely exploded over the last 10 years. So, geographically, it's an area, I think probably population-wise, about 120,000 or 100,000 if you add them all on Georgian Bay.
So you work with first-time buyers, young families, boomers, retirees. Do you work with everybody or a particular segment of the population? Buying and selling?
Yeah, I do. I am a listing agent. There's no question about it. That's where I feel in my business that I have the most security, which has become a challenge this year, just seems because pretty much anything we put on the market sells immediately. But I work with buyers too, and work with young couples trying to get into the market. But my average point of sale last year was $2 million per listing. So from a listing standpoint, I tend to gravitate towards the recreational, waterfront and country chalet type properties.
Right. So the type of properties that you sell, we'd like to see some of them. I believe you have a few that you can talk about. So maybe we'll look at a few photos and you can tell us a little bit about the properties.
Fine. Well, that particular property was it's located west of really where the ski area is, and we listed it, I think, for 3.4 or 3.5 million. It was about 30 acres and had an 8,000 square foot home. Interesting enough, my client who grew up at that house, it actually changed hands for probably 15 years, and he purchased it back, and they revived it, brought it back to this amazing property. So had its own pond and had a 5-car garage that you could put RVs in it, all heated, and it was definitely a very special property. And we actually ended up selling it to a cryptocurrency individual that's involved in that market from southwestern Ontario.
Wow. So is this a vacation home?
Yeah, it's a weekend property. But so out in the middle of nowhere, very close to an area referred like by Eugenia or Flesherton, like not a well-populated area that's not even a ski area. And I think it's probably the highest price that a property not on Georgian Bay has ever sold in county.
Wow, it looks very secluded.
Yeah, it is extreme privacy. Yeah,
Oh,
phenomenal
goodness.
property.
Wow. Let's look at the next picture. I think we have another picture coming up. There we go.
That's actually just another point of view of that house.
Oh.
You know, it was a twilight shot that we took, and the pond that you just saw in the other photo was just off to the
Oh.
left of that photo.
Lovely. Oh, that looks like a really nice property. This one?
Yeah, this one was quite unique. This was a lady that it was probably a year and a half on the market and sold when COVID hit. And it's a log home right at the base of a ski area with a private ski hill called Beaver Valley Ski Club. And it was about 22 acres right on the Beaver River. And just an absolute beautiful, charming home. And, you know, the rainbow trout run the river in behind the house, and
Wow.
the Beaver, it's on the Beaver River, and just a perfect weekend spot. And of course, we sold to somebody from the city that wanted a weekend place, and you know, the viewers that want to be able to tie into that, probably the quaintest ski club in this whole area, I would say, is the Beaver Valley Ski Club. And you can actually see through the trees above the roof there some of the hills of Beaver Valley Ski Club.
So how much would that have sold for?
That one ended up going out at 1 point. You know what? I gotta.
It can be approximate.
It went out at 1.5 million.
Okay, very beautiful weekend retreat for skiers. And I think, do we have one more picture?
That was a fun one to have.
This one.
Particular property was up in Penetanguishene with views of both the federally owned island, great view facing north. Off to the left, you can almost see the sun setting, so facing northwest. And that was 10,400 square feet. And it actually, that property belonged to for 42 years. And my client purchased it off the Seagrams and built on it. Yeah, the quality of construction was incredible. Heated floors throughout. Indoor swimming pool. That one ended up selling for 3.9 million. And my clients actually got to keep a portion of the land off to the left of the building beyond build another home on it. But yeah, 400 feet of frontage on Georgian Bay.
Wow, that's a really magnificent home, and it's the backdrop to your screen that I think we're seeing. That's really a remarkable property. Kevin, I think you've given us a really great bird's eye view of some of the properties that you sell, and the lifestyle, which is just a very exciting one, very different from where I live and work. I live and work in Yorkville, Midtown Toronto, dealing with buyers and sellers wanting luxury condos or starter homes or first-time buyers near the waterfront up to North Toronto, but focusing on mid-city. So it's a different lifestyle. I wouldn't say it's totally recreational like yours.
For sure.
But it's really exciting to see what you do. And thank you. So now we're going to introduce our second guest, Megan McLeod. Hi, Megan. So I'm going to ask you the questions about really your marketplace. And if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to the Muskoka area.
Sure. Well, I grew up in Oakville. And at about 26 years of age, I came up, hadn't spent any time in Muskoka, came up to visit friends and stay at a cottage in Bala for 2 weeks and heard loons for the first time. And I thought, oh my goodness, you cannot be stressed around the sound of a loon. Went home and sold my house in Oakville and moved up to Muskoka. So a bit of a risk, but I thought, I'm 26 years old. I can try it for a couple of years and see if I like it. And I never looked back. Growing up in Oakville, I lived, I my house backed onto a beautiful ravine. So I just ran and played in the bush and loved being outside. And as I was growing up, Oakville was getting more and more populated and developed and changing. So when I came to Muskoka, I felt like I was in the bush again. And still love and enjoy the outdoors here. I spend a lot of time hiking. In Huntsville, we have a beautiful nature reserve that not a lot of people know about. It's very Algonquin Park-like. It's the Limberlost Nature Reserve, and I live very close to it. And you have beautiful hikes that are just in the bush, but one in particular where you just walk around an entire lake. That's your hike. So you're just in the bush and beside water. Spectacular. I'm very affected by my surroundings, and I find Muskoka to be beautiful all year long. In the winter, it's stunning because you're just looking at snow and beautiful trees and water. And then, of course, in the summer, I feel like it's the most beautiful place on earth. So I enjoy, even if I'm busy with buyers or sellers and driving, everywhere where I'm driving, it's just spectacular to look at. You know, I still stop to look at the deer. I've been here 26 years, so
Oh,
not getting old.
It sounds wonderful. So tell us, what are the locations where you're most active?
Well, I would say similar to Kevin, I think I put a lot of kilometers on too. I try to go the extra mile for my clients. And so I would say that I try to stay though within a 1 hour radius of where I live, which is Huntsville. But depending on buyers or sellers, if they have a particular property that they're selling that I think I could really help them with, I may go a little bit into Haliburton, or I may go a little bit north of Huntsville, but primarily it's Huntsville, Lake of Bays, and the Muskoka Lakes. That's the area that I focus on.
So what is the demographic of people moving now to your areas that you just described? Who are the buyers right now?
Well, right now, I would say it's a mix. So prior to COVID, I would have said we had a lot of 40-somethings with young children. I dealt with a lot of clients in that age category looking for a second property. So it might be their first cottage, but they're both professional and could afford, you know, a nice cottage that maybe they would anticipate retiring to. Since COVID, I would say that we're now seeing a real mix, which is wonderful. I love it. So all ages and different demographics now. So we have retirees coming. We have folks that are moving from the city that are first-time home buyers, and everything in between.
Right. I think that really covers the general shift and migration moving from the cities, as we've all heard. So what we'd like to do is discuss some of the properties that you've recently worked on. Because you're a licensed or active also stager, interior designer, decorator, would you say as well?
I would say interior decorator, yes.
Okay, yes, interior decorator, stager, as well as broker and realtor. You bring a lot of great expertise to the table for your sellers, in particular when you're preparing to list a home for sale. So we'd love to see some of your befores and afters, and to tell us what monetary return on investment, what does one expect to spend? Right. And then what you get back when you sell and you've done a redo of a home. So let's take a look at this, and you can speak to this one.
Sure.
Okay.
So an ideal in, I used to just only focus in luxury waterfront. And I've sort of broadened my horizons because I feel like my approach can be very helpful to everyone in all price ranges. So this is an example of actually a small cottage on a river. And when I came in and I saw the kitchen, I thought, okay, that wallpaper is teacups and pots and pans, not the most attractive. And I felt like I could fix it very quickly. Now, I don't charge my clients. I do this myself. This is part of my value add. I enjoy doing as much as I possibly can to help people maximize what they have. This often is their largest asset, and every dollar counts. So if I walk into a place and I think, like this one, man, if I make some adjustments to this kitchen and swap out that light fixture and make that wallpaper go away, the buyer's first impression is going to be dramatically different. I can't tell you exactly how much more I get, folks, because I don't have the exact property go on the market as it is, and then once I've altered it. But I know that staging stats claim that you're selling anywhere from 6 to 10% more. But I feel strongly that I'm getting a lot more than that for my clients.
Perfect.
So yeah, let's see the after.
Yeah. Let's see the next shot.
Oh, wait. We didn't get the after.
Let's see what do we have next.
There we go.
There we go.
The after. So see, I mean, this just took one evening, and I just put MDF up and swapped out the light, and it just, first impression, much like less busy and clean and fresh.
The same countertop though?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Painted. Okay.
Yeah, this is just literally from one day to the next. I listed the property, did this on Friday night, staged it the next day, and had it photographed. So I'm not slowing down the process. I'm really quick.
Wow. And you have your trades lined up that you work with?
Amazing, amazing, amazing people that I work with. Could
Correct.
not do it without them. Yeah.
For sure. Let's see another picture. We can.
Oh, okay. This is the after. There we go. So this is actually a property. Two colleagues of mine up here in Muskoka had this listed during the peak of the market, Vivien, where properties were selling within 7 days. And this is on Lake Joe, facing southwest, and it was on the market for 70 days. It just wasn't selling the way it was. And they asked me to come in on the listing and stage it. And I said, okay, first thing we have to do is this green wallpaper needs to be painted. Paint it white, and then it won't be so dark. This is at a time where cottages, the demand is all white and gray, right? So if you've got all of this pine interior, that's not what buyers were looking for. And then with hunter gray wallpaper. So then we simply painted the bed frame and the wallpaper, and look what happened.
Wow. It really.
We'll see the after. There we go.
The after.
So that, see, just painting the wallpaper and the bed frame. I mean, I put new bedding on and staged it, but does that not look dramatically different?
Oh, that really, really makes a beautiful difference. Really,
Yeah.
a great improvement.
And then I think we still have another photo of this property. Okay. This is back to the one on the river. So that's the before of the living room.
Mm-hmm.
And this is this is the before of the property that I was just discussing on Lake Joe. So this is how it was photographed and listed for 3.5 million on Lake Joseph. And so hopefully the next photo that comes up is the after. Okay, sorry, we're jumping around, but this photo is the after of the one on the river. So it's hard for your viewers probably to remember what it looked like before, but that's the after of the river property.
Correct. Well, I think what we're doing is we're seeing some befores and afters that are giving people an idea of what can be done. But this is obviously a beautiful after staging. And this one would be also after staging?
This is after staging. So
Beautiful.
The before was just the green, outdoor furniture, and after just looks dramatically different. Just this property, Vivien, it had been on the market 70 days. Once I staged it and rephotographed it, sold in 5.
Wow. What a huge difference.
So, I mean, staging, I think, not only makes clients more money, but it can be the difference of the property selling or not. And so staging in a hot market, you're making clients more money, that's great. Staging in a down market could be the difference of getting it sold or not.
Absolutely. Do
Yeah.
we have any more pictures, just before afters? And that's obviously a before.
Yeah, this is a before. This is a before of the one on Lake Joe.
Okay. And then,
And that's the after of the bedroom that we saw.
correct.
And that's
Oh.
the after of the.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It just goes to show, I mean, we're getting sort of an idea of the befores and afters. And I think it just is obvious. It makes a huge difference.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
huge. Oh, it's gorgeous. Anything else? Do we have any other visuals? I think that one is also a bedroom similar to the other one. Mm-hmm.
So these are befores.
Oh,
That's after of the bedroom. And then
gorgeous.
maybe we're going to see after of the boathouse roof. There you go. So I think I do a lot of exterior staging, Vivien. And part of what I'm trying to accomplish is when the buyer comes to the property, they need to be able to visualize themselves there. And so if you just have a empty boathouse rooftop, hard to imagine. But if you've got beautiful furniture and a fire pit, you can just visualize having a glass of wine there. Kind of entices you to buy, right?
That's beautiful. It really, I have to say, staging, well, we can imagine the before and afters. I don't know if we have one more picture of the after that one. I think this would be the last one.
Okay.
Yes, that is, we can go to that one. Yes, look how gorgeous that is, before and after. That's just wonderful.
Thank you.
Megan, it's great. Just wonderful. Oh, we have another one here too. Oh, we've got more.
Somebody's going crazy with the photos.
So I think that the work that you do really, it's city life to country too. I mean, you're talking such sophistication. It's not like having a rustic cottage in any fashion. I mean, people want sophistication, they want elegance, and they want the lifestyle, no matter where they live. That's what they're looking for. It doesn't matter the geography. It's just beautiful. It could work in any city home as well.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I think we'll bring Kevin in now. And before we wrap up, I have a question that I'd like to ask both of you. What direction do you see real estate going in your particular areas, and the quality of life and real estate over the next 10 years? How will it shift? How will it change? What is your vision? So I'll start with Megan.
Okay, thank you.
You're first this time.
Yay! I beat you to it, Kevin. I feel like we're going to see a lack of inventory for some time. And I feel in the near future, with interest rates still low, but the threat of interest rates climbing, we're going to see this intensity stay with us. So lack of inventory, and buyers now may be motivated to buy because of interest rates rather than fear of COVID and wanting to get out of the city. Because I think we're changed forever. And I think a lot of folks realize that a second property within the province isn't a bad idea, because if you have a second property outside of the province, maybe you can't get to it. And then, if interest rates go up, I think that could potentially affect the market and slow things down a little bit. But as long as we have lack of inventory, I think that we'll be dealing with this intensity for some time.
Very good. Kevin, what do you say?
Well, I think really what it comes down to is still the baby boomers retiring. And that's what's fueled our market for the last 10 years easily, maybe longer, as long as I've been in the business. And so that's going to continue on. I do have a client that he's a financial coach, sold his property back a few years ago. And he's written books in regards to finance and investments. He told me that he believes that the millennials will not want the massive homes that are being built in the GTA Toronto. But he also believes that the recreational areas up northern, like going north and down Niagara-on-the-Lake and heading east to Haliburton and the Muskokas, will continue to be strong for the next 10 to 12 years based upon the swell of population of the baby boom. So they'll still own the recreational properties and live outside of the GTA. But what may start to struggle first, in his point of view, is possibly those massive homes just outside of the GTA, because the next generation that's going to be buying them that's not what turns their crank. I mean, they want to go on a hike and minimalists, and they don't want to get involved. They want to travel the world. So I think it's going to be very interesting. But with a 1.2 or 1.3 million immigrants ready to come into the country, 40% of them are considered to be wealthy. That is going to fuel our dense populated areas, because that's where they focus on when they come to the country, and that also creates the transactions to move those people that have been there for 10 years, 30 years. They bought their houses for $1 million in the city, and now they're worth $2 and $3 million. That creates buyers for them to move away and do something different in retirement. So I think that this area, Muskoka, Megan, we got 10, 15 years of still explosive growth, and this whole COVID has just taught us all a lesson, I think, and we want to be able to play in our own backyard.
I think both of you really hit a great summary to this, because everyone is looking for quality of life. Everybody is looking at some point as they get older, looking somewhat toward eventual retirement. So that's a very big or pre-retirement with the boomer generation, wanting or having for their families, for their children, a secondary home or even a primary home with a quality of life that's quieter and more in nature, and perhaps having a smaller pied-à-terre or home in the city. There's so many or vice versa. There's so many different variables that we don't know about. But I think what COVID has taught all of us is that people are reevaluating their priorities and their lives, and whatever really makes them have a calmer and happier life, whatever that may be. Live in the city, fast track city urban, versus a combination of both, or just do what you both are doing, living a dream life in the country. I would say that's certainly what it sounds like to me. Yeah. And it's been most interesting. Now, if anybody has any questions at all, Kevin, how can people find you?
You can just go to the Sotheby site and sothebysrealty.ca and type in Kevin Gilchrist, or just go to collingwoodagent.com is my website, but that gets forwarded to the Sotheby's profile and my listings.
Wonderful. And Megan, how can people find you if they have questions about your area?
They can go to the McLeodteam.com. That's my personal website. I'm also McLeod Team on Instagram, just simply McLeod Team. I think if you Google Kevin Gilchrist or Megan McLeod, you'll find our profiles online and our cell numbers. But yeah, we're happy to answer questions, and really enjoyed being a part of this, Vivien. This has been really interesting.
Thank you. No, it's really been, I think, exciting and interesting for people to see a vision of another life and what you do in your day-to-day work, buying and dealing with buyers and sellers in a very different location where many of us really just go to visit, or certainly vacation if we're lucky enough to do that. Also, if anybody wants to find out more about these locations, you can also contact me directly. And so for today, this ends our episode. And I thank everyone for joining me. And in the next episode, next week on Wednesday at 12 noon, on November the 17th, at noon, we will be discussing a totally different topic, the 7 tips you need to know when buying a condominium from a real estate legal perspective, from a litigator and real estate lawyer, Carol Dirks. And that is it for today. And if you you can follow this series on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, or on my website, viviensharon.com/live. Please like this video, leave a comment, and if you enjoyed it, I hope to see you next time. And I really want to thank my guests, both Kevin Gilchrist and Megan McLeod, for taking the time out of their very, very busy days to share with us the work that they do in each of their areas. So thank you so much, and wish everybody a great day.
Thanks, Vivien.
Bye
Thank
for
you,
now.
Vivien.
Thank you.